Okay, these headphone hands are a lot of fun. This following hand, you're going to hear a lot of talking. You're going to hear a lot of different views on why they're playing hands, why they're making the moves they make, and I'm going to try to dissect some of their thought process, some good, some bad. Just take a look. We're going to see Brad here limping with just garbage, 7-9 offsuit. This isn't even a hand I want to limp with. Doesn't play well in multi-way pots, and with two limpers, it's just asking for trouble with a bad kicker. Well, that's the ace-8 offsuit from middle position with some good players behind me. I don't want to play that. Now we've got Paul on the button here, much more powerful position. 10-jack offsuit.
This is a good spot to isolate the maniac. I'm on the button.
I feel like that was just a raise just because he's on the button.
I have a good hand. I'm really hoping he calls maybe one other person.
He made that raise because he thinks there's 3 weak players in the pot.
It's okay to do that, to look at your hand ahead of time. It's okay to look at your hand ahead of time if you continually do the same things afterwards. Like Paul here on my right, notice that I did that. But as long as you keep it continuing to do the same thing consistently, it's okay to do it. All right?
What Kirk is referring to is actually, so we've got a lot of conversation going on here. We've got Paul making his isolation raise to try to get heads up with what he termed the maniac Brad. Josh is onto it a little bit. You heard some of Josh's commentary. He's like, you know what? He just felt like this is a button raise, and he's absolutely right. That's exactly right. Kirk, on the other hand, is talking about something unrelated to what they're talking about, and that's in relation to when you should look at your cards. Most of you should probably wait till it's your turn to look at your cards. Kirk, accomplished player. He's obviously advanced when it comes to tells and things like that. He understands, how to look the same and things like that, and it works for him. Realistically, it's not that big a deal either way, as long as you don't look at your hand and go, I'm going to fold, or something along those lines. You just want to be kind of like a normal person, if you will, and just, act like a normal person. Yeah. Let's take a look at what else happens. Okay, so we got Kirk calling with Queen 10 of diamonds. And Josh is very suspicious here of the button raise, but still, he's got 6-5 offsuit, so it's a very...
the way I figure, who gives a shit, right? It's $10.
Brad with his well-put commentary there.
I probably shouldn't call, but I'm going to.
Anytime you ever say that, catch yourself and don't follow through. You hear what she just said? She said, I probably shouldn't call... Finish it there and don't. I probably shouldn't call, but I'm going to. Okay, I know I do this all the time, all right? You've probably seen me on television. A little bit different. This is a clear-cut case where before the flop, she knows it's a very sloppy call. It's a boredom call. And in fact, it's actually not that bad considering you've already got a couple players in, but limping in the first place was her mistake. She shouldn't have put the $2 in. Now that she has, calling the other 8 is marginal. It's not like the end of the world.
I feel that I can either bet both Kirk and Paul out, and the only way the other two are calling is if they have a made hand.
Okay, now let's stop right there. That's interesting thinking. Josh is not, he's close to, let's say, intermediate player. But his thinking is actually pretty good here in that he's feeling as though his table image is pretty conservative, that the more experienced players like Kirk or Paul would give him some credit if he's to make a big bet here on the flop, and he could possibly steal it from them. So his real fear is Brad and Jacqueline actually hitting the hand on the flop. So already, even before the flops hit, Josh is thinking about being aggressive and trying to steal this pot, maybe regardless of what hits. It should depend a little bit on flop texture, of course, or if he hits something. But this is a very important aspect of getting better as a poker player. He's actually just learning right now. He's getting a little better, but thinking one step ahead. Think about, what will I do if this situation comes up? What are they trying to do? Where are the good players? Where are the bad players? Where am I in relation to them? What can I get away with? What can I not? How do they perceive me? Am I going to be able to bluff this flop? All these types of things. He's already thinking about this, so that way, when the flop comes out, he can make a snap decision because he's already thought through all the possibilities. Let's go ahead and see what happens.
I was hoping for 2-pair on the flop, but I definitely didn't get it. I should never play that hand again.
We'll stop right there, Jacqueline. This is a pretty good flop. If you're going to play a 3-4 offsuit and it comes 3-6-7, you've got the pair, you've got the straight draw. If you can't like this flop, then really you should have listened to yourself and not played the hand before the flop. Let's go ahead and take a look. Josh has bet
Got pretty lucky with that flop.
$25, Josh bet.
I feel that if these two fold, one of them is going to raise me, and I can re-raise.
Now that's a little rambunctious, okay? Josh is saying that if he bets and he feels like one of the other players behind him might raise him, then he can re-raise. Well, if somebody raises him on this board with a 7, 6, and a 3, sure, he does have a straight draw and he's got a pair, but if someone raises, a very good chance he's in bad shape. Someone might have 3 of a kind. Well, an overpair is not death to his hand, but if someone has 6, 7, a straight already, you don't want to be re-raising in this spot. So I like his aggressive thinking before the flop and that maybe he can steal it. But if he gets resistance after that flop, then he has to be more careful. He'd said already before that obviously if Kirk or Paul, he can get them out of the hand. Maybe one of the other ones won't play unless they actually hit something. So if they raise you, that should signify that you hit something. So what happened there was Josh got in this aggressive line of thinking and stayed there. He didn't think about, well, wait a minute, what happened to my other plan about being cautious? So you've got to be a little bit careful with the idea of re-raising. Now, interestingly, Brad has flop top pair, which normally means $100. But let's see.
What I was saying before, if I can clarify it, is pre-flop, I looked at my hand before actions upon me. A lot of people here, and you've been taught in books, and Phil Gordon says, oh, wait till the action's upon you. I tend to disagree with that. You can actually look at your hand as long as you consistently have the same body language afterwards. If you look at the cards first and you do things consistently, you can always do that. I like to do that. I like to do it because I like to be prepared to see what the action has done in front of me, or to have a game plan what I'm going to do in case I have to pick up a hand and how I'm going to play it.
So we heard Kirk's explanation as to why he does it. Again, if you're really new to the game, it's probably something you won't be as comfortable with. But later as you improve, I actually tend to look at my hand sometimes when it's on me, sometimes when it's not. I try to mix it up. I do everything in kind of a goofy way where it's very difficult to pick up on patterns. But anyway, aside from that, Josh's play kind of worked out here. What was really surprising was Brad folding in that spot. That was kind of random and shocking if you've seen some of the other hands for Brad to fold top pair there. But anyway, interesting conversation there from Josh, his thought process. Paul Waska obviously had an isolation play in mind where he was going to get heads up with Brad. That didn't work, but you didn't see him go too crazy with it. He lost his $10 and a board admission.